What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got news about the light heavyweight title fight, Henry Cejudo's top 5 of all time, Julianna Peña in the news, light heavyweight title fight between Glover and Jiri pushed to UFC 275 in June. Glover Teixeira's first title defense is getting pushed back until June, as the UFC works out its schedule heading into the summer months. Teixeira, who at 42 years old, became the second oldest UFC fighter to win a championship when he beat Jan Blachowicz in October at UFC 267 in Abu Dhabi, has been linked to a potential title defense against Jiri Prochazka, a surging light heavyweight, sometime this year. The fight was originally scheduled for UFC 274 in May, but now sources close to the UFC confirmed the news that it will now take place in June. The May pay-per-view card was actually supposed to take place in Brazil originally, Teixeira's home country, but it's now going to be taking place at a location to be determined for undisclosed reasons. Given that Brazil is no longer on the table for the May card, it makes sense that the UFC would move Teixeira's title defense for UFC 275 in June, a location for which has yet to be determined as well, but is likely to take place in the United States. Still, Glover is coming off a second-round submission victory for the title in October and has the most finishes, 13, and submissions, 7, in the division's history. Prochazka, meanwhile, is on a 12-fight winning streak dating back to 2016 and recently won his first 2 UFC fights via spinning back elbow knockouts. What do you think of the UFC moving this fight to June? Did the hype leading up to UFC 270 get to Cyril Gane's head? Francis Ngannou thinks so. The pre-fight festivities for a pay-per-view main event in the UFC is incredibly daunting. Not only are there so many interviews and hype surrounding the whole thing, but it can be incredibly overwhelming to a fighter who has never been in that situation before. Francis Ngannou understood this and believes that's exactly what happened to Cyril Gane in their UFC 270 main event this past January. The heavyweight title unification bout had a lot of drama going into it, from Ngannou's contract situation to the fact that his former coach was in the corner of Gane, to Gane being Ngannou's old training partner. In fact, there were even rumors that Ngannou was suffering a knee injury going into the fight, which actually turned out to be true. Still, Ngannou came away with a unanimous decision victory at the end of UFC 270 in spite of all the adversity he faced. But he's now sounding the alarm on what he thought happened to Gane mentally going into the fight. In a recent Q&A session on his YouTube channel, this is what Ngannou had to say.
I hoped before the fight was that he really listened and believed to what they were saying in the media. He did believe that everything that the media was saying was true at some point.
While it remains to be seen if Ngannou and the UFC can come to terms on a new deal while he's healing up from major knee surgery this year, Gane, for his part, has said that he wants them to get a deal done, if only to get a rematch in the future. Islam Makhachev says Conor McGregor is an easy fight en route to lightweight title. The lightweight title fight between Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje is set to take place later this year. And while Islam Makhachev looks like he just booked a fight to face the winner of that bout, there's a certain Irishman out there saying that he should get the next title shot. McGregor remains the biggest draw in the sport and recently said this week that he'd love to come back in June and face Oliveira, or the winner of Oliveira-Gaethje. He said that Oliveira, to get his payday, should wait a few months until McGregor heals from a broken leg to face off against the Irishman. But Islam, who recently ground and pounded his way to a first-round TKO victory over Bobby Green on Saturday night, says that the lightweight title shot should go through him. He's also not worried about the Irishman at all. This is what he said when the question was brought up during the post-fight press conference.
Conor McGregor was speaking yesterday and he said maybe he deserves a title shot. Do you have any concern that he would step in, or maybe would you even want to fight him?
Honestly, I don't remember when this guy beat someone. He have to come back, beat someone, and let's go, why not? I'm gonna smash him like easy. Not Bobby Green is gonna be hard for me more than for him.
McGregor lost 3 of his last 4 fights dating back to 2018, losing to Khabib Nurmagomedov and Dustin Poirier twice. His lone win was against Donald Cerrone in January 2020 in the first round. But Islam is now on a 10-fight winning streak dating back to 2016, finishing 6 of those fights. What do you think about this situation? Do you believe McGregor should skip the line and be able to fight someone like Islam for the #1 contender slot? Or do you believe that Islam is flat out the #1 contender and all this McGregor talk is nonsense? Let us know in the comments below. When it comes to the GOAT conversation, Henry Cejudo believes he's above GSP. Henry Cejudo has a long list of accolades, so it's no wonder he's putting himself ahead of Georges St. Pierre in the conversation of who is the top 5 of all time. Cejudo retired from the UFC at UFC 249 in 2020. Following his bantamweight title defense against Dominic Cruz. That fight came just one after he captured the bantamweight title and became a champ, as he was also the flyweight champion when he beat Demetrius Johnson the second time out at UFC 227 in 2018. The Chicano fighter is also an Olympic gold medalist in freestyle wrestling, which is why his moniker is Triple C, but that's beside the point. In a recent episode of the Triple C and Schmo show on YouTube, Cejudo was asked who is in his top 5 of UFC greats, and after a bit of banter that he's all of them, a la Dylan, and Dylan, he revealed his actual top 5. This is what he said.
These are my top 5. Number 1, John Jones. Number 2, Demetrius Johnson. Number 3, Anderson Silva. And you know what, man? I've been thinking about it a lot, Schmo. I'm actually number 4. I used to put GSP there, but I'm actually number 4 just for the simple fact that I won both of my bouts from the 2 greatest. Just because Bisping had a championship at that time doesn't mean he was the best in the world.
How about that? GSP avenged every loss he ever had in the UFC and has held titles in 2 divisions. One of those titles he won after a 4-year layoff. He also has the most welterweight title defenses with 9. Cejudo goes on to say that he beat some of the top Hall of Famers in Dominic Cruz, Demetrius Johnson, and TJ Dillashaw en route to holding 2 UFC titles simultaneously. Still, what do you think? Do you agree with Cejudo that he should be ranked above GSP? Or do you disagree and believe GSP should be ranked ahead of Cejudo? The rematch against Amanda Nunes looming, Julianna Peña says she knows what to correct in her game. The UFC Women's Bantamweight title rematch will be a highly anticipated affair, as Amanda Nunes will look to avenge her loss to Julianna Peña. Peña earned an improbable win at UFC 269 this past December, beating Nunes by a rear naked choke in the second round. But before Nunes tapped, Peña had been in trouble in the first round, having been taken down and outstriked in the first round. This only made her win over Nunes that much sweeter. But it begs the question, what is going to happen in the rematch? For her part, Peña has already seen the fight 4 times, according to a recent interview, and is preparing to fill the gaps in her game to be able to have her hand raised once again. This is what else she said in that interview.
You know, I got dumped in the first round, and that really pissed my coaches off, so I just need to make sure that I don't get dumped again in the next fight. Aside from that, I think otherwise, I mean, hey, it's fighting. Mistakes are going to happen.
Nunes and Peña are set to become coaches in the latest season of The Ultimate Fighter, where both fighters will coach female flyweights and male heavyweights. All of this will culminate in a UFC Women's Bantamweight title rematch on pay-per-view. But what do you make of Peña's comments here? Today's video was jam-packed with some juicy stories from the fight world. What are your thoughts about what's going on in MMA? Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel to see more videos just like this. See you next time.